With the release of Season 7, we've seen some pretty cool changes being made to some of the heroes to make them slightly more balanced. The most obvious changes have been made to Sombra, but that's a full-blown rework, so to say she's had a bit of a change this season is a massive understatement. But we've also seen really good smaller changes to some of the other heroes, like Brigg's whip shot damage being buffed by 10 from 70 up to 80, and Orisa's fortified damage reduction being changed from 50% down to 45%. Both of these changes are good. It's the small buffs and nerfs that keep the meta of Overwatch constantly changing. Less people are going to want to play Orisa now knowing that she takes a bit more damage in Fortified than she used to, but more people are going to want to start playing Brigg more often because she now has a higher damage output. However, in the case of the Brigg buff, this might only be something that's short-lived because recently, Jared Noose, the game's director, has announced that in the mid-season patch, they're looking to nerf some of the supports. And these nerfs could change the support meta drastically. I'll get into that in a second, but first I'm going to ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video, as I want to continue making Overwatch 2 related content that's not only entertaining, but educational too. So, to directly quote from the director's take that was released recently, and I'll link that in the description so you can read it for yourself if you want to, we've seen a lot of talk around supports and their rising power level in the meta. We're making a series of changes to many of the support heroes in the game for the mid-season patch, with the intent of targeting their utility and opening up windows of vulnerability. We want to be careful here in order to avoid some of the feelings of helplessness that supports had at launch, but we want to lower some of the overall sustain and survivability that's present in the game currently. So in short, supports are getting nerfed in the mid-season patch. This isn't going to be a nerf to their healing, rather a nerf to some of their abilities. Should you be worried about this? Maybe? It's a bit too early to judge yet, but if you're a support main, you have every right to be a bit up in arms about this announcement. The good thing is that the patch is going to be targeted more towards the different heroes' kits and abilities rather than their actual healing and damage numbers themselves. Obviously these might change too, but it's much more about their abilities because that's what's giving them so much survivability. Now, what exactly does this mean? What changes are coming to supports? Well, we're not too sure. Obviously, heroes with abilities that allow them to stay in the fight are going to see some changes. That's what this is all about. So now, we speculate. I think a very obvious change that's going to be made is Baptiste's entire kit. Immortality Field is going to be tinkered with and tweaked to either have a shorter deactivation time or less health, and his self-healing from his other ability, Regenerative Burst, is probably going to be much less than it currently is. Baptiste is an absolute menace and is always on the top 500 support leaderboard because of how good he is in both terms of healing and damage. I could also see changes in how movement-based abilities work for some heroes because that's what keeps them alive most of the time. 9 times out of 10 you only fail to kill a Moira or Mercy because they're moving around at the speed of sound. It's not necessarily because they're good, it's because it can be stupidly hard to hit players that understand their movement. Talking about Moira, I think her Biotic Orb being able to self-heal is going to get changed. Whether it's flat out removed or it's tweaked so it heals her less, I don't know. But I could totally see it being changed. Ana's Nade might also get changed around a little bit, and her Sleep might also get tweaked to sleep enemies for less time. We don't know yet, this is all speculation. I think it's fair to say that after the mid-season patch, playing support is going to be very interesting. Do I have trust in Blizzard to not completely mess it up? They might surprise us. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, the Sombra rework wasn't too bad. I personally quite like it, but it definitely has its ups and downs. And I feel like that's going to be the case with these changes to the supports and their different abilities. They won't flat out make the characters suck, but they definitely won't make them any more fun to play. Saying that, you're playing Overwatch, so are you really having fun in the first place? Anyways, that's the end of this video. Once again, I'm going to ask you to like this video as it lets me know that you find these videos not only to be helpful, but entertaining. This video was a bit of a doozy, but I felt that I should probably make a video discussing these changes coming later in the season, because it's important to know what's going on and what's coming in the future. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure to check out my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.